All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to the live class with Charles. Life as we see it, discussing life without airs. I've got a guest right in the room, and she's going to join us in a moment, and then I'll introduce her to every one of us. Yassmine, here you are. Hi, Yassmine.
Hi everyone, thank you so much.
Everyone, thank you so much.
Excellent. It's good to see you, Yassmine. You are shining like the morning star.
Oh, thank you.
It's so bright where you're at. Tell me about the weather around you, Yasmin.
So I'm based in Dubai currently. It's 50 degrees Celsius, so it's quite hot. But having said that, it's a beautiful place to be. It's a safe country. I'm actually born and raised here, so I consider this place my home.
Yasmin is connecting to us all the way from Dubai, and today she's joining us in the live class with Charles for the first time to talk about life as we see it, without the earth. Tell us her stories, her perspectives, etc., etc. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your show. It's streaming on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and you're going to see it on YouTube. And all you need to do, ask your questions, make your observations, and make your contributions, because everything you say while we're on the show is going to get to Yasmin. If you need to dial in, the number to dial is 0901 5000 0901 500 2661. That's the studio number, and people are already popping in. I can see the numbers changing. Welcome to the live class with Charles. So, Yasmin, in a moment, I am going to be reading the live class to our audience. But before we do that, tell our audience who is Yasmin.
So who is Yassminne? Yassminne is a girl from Lebanon, born and raised in Dubai. Initially a corporate banker, 10 years of corporate banking. I thought this is what I wanted to do all my life, and I thought that my life path in corporate banking was going to be the career of the careers for me. And until I discovered another passion while I was doing corporate banking, which was actually helping people. As I discovered that passion, I met people on my life who assisted me, or I can say they initiated me on this path. Some people call it a spiritual path. Some people call it an accession path. A lot of people call it, I don't know, a road less traveled, if you want to say. So obviously, since we're talking, it's always about the perspective and the meaning we give to every word. But I say it's the path that is the closest to my heart, and a path that led me to where I am today and led me to understand life in a different way, see it, feel it, sense it, and even co create within it in a different way. So, in a nutshell, this is who I am. Obviously, we give these introductions, but these introductions don't give us our real true value, and they don't express our real truth. But this is what people would like to hear. So,
Exactly. You know, sometimes I find that the hardest question to answer is who are you?
yeah, indeed, who I'm not
You
is
know
very
what?
easy to
I
answer.
once read a story. Exactly. Now, I once read a story about this professor who was walking on the street, and it was densely populated. There were a lot of people, okay? So he accidentally stepped on a lady, and the lady was leaving, and she said, "Look, you stepped on me. Who do you think you are?" And he turned around and said to her, "I wish I knew."
Wow,
You
wow.
know, he said, "Who are you? Who do you think you are?" He said, "I wish I knew." So, ladies and gentlemen, it's the live class with Charles. Life as we see it. Let's know where you're dialing in from. Okay, let's know where you're listening in from. Are you on Twitter? Are you on Facebook? Are you on YouTube? On LinkedIn? Let's know where you're connecting from. Introduce yourself in the chat section. We want to interact with you. Every question, observation, or contribution, just share it in the chat box. And don't forget, if you need to dial in the studio, you're welcome to dial into the studio. The number 0901 500 2661. In a minute, I'm going to be reading the live class with Charles for today. So you're going to hear the meditation song that takes us into that moment and sets the tune for the conversation. There we go.
And
Live class with Charles. Do you know what you want? Some people admit they do not know what they want. Some think they know when they do not. In fact, people pity those in the first category without knowing that those in the second category are at the greatest risk of a mistake. Before I got married, I thought I knew the wife I wanted. But while riding with a friend one day, his wife said to me casually, "The kind of wife Charles should marry is dash dash dash." My oh my, her description cured my ignorance. Before you arrive at the depth of what you want, consider the breadth of wise counsel. Most of us have five senses. Better to reach one decision with five senses than to make five decisions based on the judgment of one sense. To know what you want, do not let your eyes be the only decider. Do you know what you want? Back, Charles. Yassmine. What was going through your mind when I read that?
sorry, I lost you there because the connection was lost.
Oh, sorry about that. Okay, I was asking what was going through your mind, you know, when you listened to the live class, just like I read it. What was going through your mind? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know what happened
Great.
to the connections.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes. So, what was going through your mind when I read that? Any thoughts? General thoughts?
So
Anything
my
else?
key takeaways, exactly from what you said. First of all, the wife of your friend is a messenger of God. This is how I consider it sometimes. And then when you spoke about the five senses, it's absolutely correct. So when you make decisions based on five senses, you're actually making decisions based on your resourceful state.
Okay. Yasmin, for a moment, I thought that you were breaking up on my end.
Can you
I was, yeah. This time it's not the internet connection. I think it's the sound, like a microphone.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you, but the sound is kind of rough.
Okay.
Yes, so I can hear you. So the sound is rough. So those who are listening to us on various platforms, I like you to tell me if your sound is clear. If you can hear Yasmin clearly, then we can go on with that. Share the chat box. I can hear Yasmin clearly. You know, Olalo, Simon, can you hear Yasmin clearly? Just share the chat box so that we're sure. It's a little rough from here.
Test, test. Can you hear me now?
Okay, so Malalo tells us she's dialing in from Zambia. She says it's a bit static. And what about you, Simon? Uh, those on Twitter as well. Do you have any challenge? Let's see if we can get this sorted out. Okay, so with your connection, Yasmin, could you do one thing to be sure? Just say hello. Okay, now it's completely you're silent completely. Not a word from you now. We can't hear you. Yes. No words yet. Can, yes, I can't hear you at all. We can hear you. No sound from you. Yes, but we can see you very clearly. We can see you very clearly, but no sound. So can you redial? So you step out of the studio and come back in.
Is it
All right.
working now?
Yes, it's working now. Excellent.
Thank you, Lord God.
Okay. So we were talking about. You were saying something about the five senses. Can you come back with that?
Yeah, so obviously, just to recap, the wife of your friend is a messenger of God. So I feel sometimes that people in our lives, they bring in these signs. They tell us these hints, to awaken some of the senses that we're not really using, you know? And then the five senses, I love the part where you said that it's better to make a decision based on five senses rather than five decisions based on one sense. Yeah. So from that part, from what I've seen already and what has applied to my life as well, when you make decisions from five senses, this is when you are in your pure resourceful. That means you've gathered the information that you need to make that aligned decision.
Okay.
And when you make an aligned decision from that space, it no longer becomes a matter of a mistake or a no mistake. It becomes a matter of uh, um, how do I say it? The best word that I can use. It no longer becomes like an abrupt decision. It no longer becomes
Right.
a choice that you made that could go wrong or that will not give you the fulfillment that you need. You will have made a decision at a certain point in time using these five senses while you're
Right.
completely resourceful in a proper state. So then regret will not follow. You will know that at this point in time, you did the best you could.
Hmm. 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 But look at it from this
I love your
from this
time.
perspective. Look at it from this perspective, Yasmin. I find it interesting that my friend's wife was like a messenger of God, certainly. However, why is it that some people don't know what they want? That's a question.
Why is it
Why
that
is it
some people,
don't know what they want?
okay, I
The
will
wife.
answer that. Just like the echo.
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me
It's
now?
still echoing. Yes, it's better.
Is it better now?
It's fantastic now.
Perfect. So why is it that people don't know what they want? Because from my perspective and what I've also seen, when people are not in touch with themselves, they don't understand who they are, then they don't know what they want. Then
Hmm.
they live a life based on fulfilling needs, which is a given. Like you cannot live without the need of shelter, without the need of food. You can't live without the need of love and connection. You can't live
Right.
without the need of growth and contribution. So certainty and variety. So these are our needs. These are basic needs to live.
Hmm.
Okay. So
Yes.
as humans, we're already programmed to live a life to fulfill these needs. And most of the times we operate from a space of survival.
Hmm.
But the real deal is to actually discover what we want. Because from the place of what we want, sometimes come our deepest desires to live a passionate life,
Right. Right.
to create.
Right.
And sometimes the way I see it, as far as my journey entails thus far, and this could change at any point in time, but till now, what I've understood or seen for myself that when there's a want, um, sometimes you pursue that and it ignites that passion. So the reason we don't know what we want is because we're not open enough, we're not curious enough. We've forgotten our childlike innocence. We've forgotten what the heart desires. We stopped living from the heart. We started living more from our mind. And thus, we forgot to be in tune with our bodies. We forgot to be in tune with our soul. We forgot to be in tune with our spirit. So that's when we don't know what we want.
Oh, wow. You say a lot of things, Yasmin. I'm hearing being in tune with your heart, being in tune with your mind. I mean, that sounds really esoteric, right? So walk us through this, right? Um, what's the difference between being in tune with your mind and being in tune with your heart? Are they different or are they the same?
So, also, some things from what I've experienced with myself, the heart and the mind need to be in that coherence, meaning that I am
control, as I lead with my heart, I then let my mind follow to help me create what my heart truly desires. So this is really what I see, because the qualities that we have, the real truth of who we are lies in our heart.
Okay. Okay. Now, Yassmine, it took you 10 years in banking before you realized it was not for you,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, in those 10 years, how can you describe those 10 years? Since it took you 10 years to find out it was not for you. That's not what you wanted.
Yeah. Interesting question, because the reality is, so I was with two banks, and the first bank I spent 5 years, and the second I spent almost the same amount of years, which is like 5 years plus, kind of.
Okay.
When I was in the previous bank, um, at some point in time, I felt that I'm playing too small. Like I
Okay.
was meant for something bigger and better and more rewarding, more fulfilling.
Okay.
But then, as I was feeling these feelings, I got promoted and I was very happy with it. So I got a bit of a sedation. And then after that, I was given the opportunity to join another international bank, which I'm really grateful for my journey, to be honest. But even when I joined the other bank, initially I had that drive and that enthusiasm, and I went to work and I just pushed and pushed and pushed. And I always fought for promotions. I always fought for being bigger and greater. But unfortunately, I was always being met by comments like, you're immature, you're not yet ready, it's not the right time for you, you're still too young, there's plenty of years in front of you, there's so many people waiting in line to get their promotions. So practically the statement of like, you're not good enough yet, or you're not ready. And as I was moving in my days, one day, and I was obviously doing self-development as I was working, and that's why I'm grateful for my journey. But as I was moving forward on the journey, one day I get a message on my phone. You surf social media sometimes, and you get messages, right? So the moment I open my phone, I see this post saying, "Stop searching for love in the place where you once lost it."
Wow.
And that was like the message for me that, okay, it's time to step down or to move away from this and really follow my calling, follow my path. And to be honest, it hasn't been an easy path, because for the people who know, and I'm sure you already know because you do this as well. When you're doing this work, you start doing this work on yourself before you start doing it on others.
Wow. Sorry, Yassmine. Now, sorry, so sorry. You know, thank you, Yassmine. Sharing your story it tells us so much. It's incredible because here you are talking about a powerful quote. Don't look for love where you lost it. Oh, okay. And then I hear you talk about you being in an environment where you're working hard, you enjoy your job, but then they're telling you you're too young to be promoted. There are other people on the queue. You have many years ahead of you, giving you all the excuses why you shouldn't be rewarded for your efforts.
Yeah.
Now, there are people dialing in and listening to this call from all over the world: Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. and they have questions in their heart. How do I know this is the right time to make a move from what I thought I wanted to what I really want? What would you say to them?
So I would tell them explore, give yourself time. Do not, like, I was a person, frankly speaking, I didn't make an abrupt decision. Like, when I submitted my resignation, by mistake, I wrote 2018 instead of 2019. And that gave me the sign that in my mind, I had already making the decision to leave, but taking the action took some time. And it took some time because I had to do my own preparations. I had to save some money. I had to be comfortable. I had to take myself to that place where I'm like, okay, this is really the right thing to do, and I'm comfortable to do it in this time. Often what happens is people rush into these decisions. It's like somebody's after us. Like, if I don't pursue this right now, this idea is gonna go. I'm gonna miss my opportunity. You create your opportunities. You know, you're the creator. So for me, like, take your time, explore, and I'll tell people how I got to where I am. When I first started, when I started on the second journey in banking, then I was like, okay, I need to find something different, but I don't know what it is. What am I gonna do? Even though I loved helping people, but I didn't know that I could create a career out of it. I wasn't exposed to that world, you know? So the reason I said explore is that discover, you know, this body of ours, this mind, this heart, there's plenty of resources inside of us. There's plenty of ideas waiting to be seen, heard, acknowledged, activated, so you can pursue that life that you desire. So, how I started was I wanted to tap into the creative side of who I am.
Okay.
And in order to do that, I took a course in makeup. I became a makeup artist, you
Hmm.
know. And when I did that certification, I wasn't sure if I was going to pursue that as a career or not.
Wow.
And I loved it and I enjoyed it. And then after that, along the way, I met a lady who initiated that journey and introduced me into certain healing modalities, being energy healing, card reading, life coaching, trauma release and healing. And then the journey just unfolded. So, what I would really tell people is explore. Give yourself permission to really explore, to really reflect, to reassess, to think of these ideas that you had when you were a child
Hmm.
and reignite that passion that comes through the heart.
I lost you for a moment. Now, it looks really interesting, and I've gotten a feedback all the way from LinkedIn. Malalo, who's joining us from Zambia, said, It took me 2 years, okay, to leave the corporate sector." Now, there are many people who find this really difficult. It sounds so much easier to say that you make that move, but a lot of people struggle with that decision. And on the other hand, there are people who are right now living out a life that they do not even realize is not a reflection of what they want. So I'm going to ask you, Yassmine, Have you been in a situation where things were working
Yes.
and then you realize this is not what I want, but it's working?
Yeah.
Because in some cases, things have to stop working for people to realize this is not what they want. But are there situations where things are working, things are going well, but that's not where they should be?
Yes.
What do you think about that? Does it ever happen?
Absolutely. We are adaptive beings and we like our comfort. That's a reality, you know.
Correct.
Comfort gives us that safety. It's always something that we can lean back onto or even just depend on. So, for someone who's been having a great career with massive income and they're having a good life and they're satisfied and fulfilled, well, good job for them. Because the reality is, the world, I believe the world is created in that perfect harmony. You cannot have everybody working the same. You know, if we were all coaches in this world, then who are we coaching? If we were all engineers and just building, 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 then where are the people who are going to generate the income to actually live in these buildings?
Right.
You know, um, so in general, I believe that we're in perfect harmony. Everybody has their place. Some people do really, really well in corporates, and well done for them. This is what they're born to do, and that's great. Now, for the people where everything's working for them, like I'll tell you, everything was working for me. I had a great salary. I had just gotten my promotion when I left. After three
Wow.
months from my promotion, I decided to just leave. So, what I would say is everybody has the power of choice. That's their willpower. And I would respect anybody who's making a decision from that place of strength, from that place of inner knowing, from that place of deepest understanding. Because this tells me that these people really know who they are at their core and they know what they're here to bring, like what they are here for to offer. So in that case, I believe that I would just honor their power of choice and tell them kudos, well done. There are also a lot of people who jumped off the corporate train and went to pursue their own thing, and then they realized that that's not the life that they want. Then they went back into the corporate world because for them, travel and luxury and that good life and the less responsibilities, or not less responsibilities, but more determined and contained responsibilities, they're able to deal with that. And that's completely okay. I believe that we need to give people permission to be who they want to be and to choose what they want to choose at any point in time. There's no right or wrong.
Okay. And I hear you. There's no right or wrong. Be who you want to be, when you want to be, and how you
Yeah.
want to be. But how do I know that I am in the right place? The context is, how do I know I have what I want?
Um, feeling. For me, it's a feeling, it's a sensation, it's something that you feel different than that instant gratification or that momentary happiness. You will have that pure form of gratitude that is immeasurable, really true, and you will feel it across your body. You will know that, yes, I've done the right thing. And I'll tell you something. There's also that myth of like, I need to be in the right place at the right time. Am I doing what I really want? Am I completely aligned? There's that myth that we're stuck in. The reality is we are here to live this life in each and every moment. So, in each and every moment, you're living an experience. And that experience, depending on how you feel, your feeling gives you that feedback.
That
And
is correct.
depending on how you're feeling, you will know whether this is kind of aligned to you or misaligned. And you need to take a turn.
Hmm. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's a live class with Charles. Questions, contributions, observations about that gap between what you want and being sure that that's what you want. Because today, in today's live class, we have two categories: those who do not know what they want, and those who think they know what they want. And I'm going to ask this question for everyone who's listening in right now. For example, Mulalo, all the way from Zambia, says it took me 2 years. Mulalo, would you love to share with us why it took you 2 years to come to the decision that you needed to leave the corporate world? Okay. And then for the rest of those who are dialing in from different platforms, the question will be, how do you really feel when you are you have something and this is not what you want? How do you feel? What signals do you get, to convince yourself that this is not what I want? Then what signals do you get when it is what you want? It's interesting that Yassmine has said it's a feeling, and then gratitude, a sense of gratitude overwhelms you, and then oh, this is where I should be. But I know that a lot of people who swing both ways, and that's why we're having the live class. The live class is so incisive in the context. It says some people admit that they don't even know what they want. Now it says here, before you arrive at the depth of what you want, consider the breadth of wise counsel. Yasmin, you told us a story. Someone brought you saw a text message, don't look for love where you lost it. And then someone brought you into a field. Tell us the story of the people who played a part in you discovering what you wanted out of life. Yasmin, would you mind?
Well, no, definitely. Well, so many people, to be honest, and I think it started even earlier when I was a teenager in university. There was a beautiful lady who used to come to our house and she used to do crystal healing, but she never really spoke about this path. She never really gave a lot of details of how to pursue it, where to go next, what to start with. And then the days went by until I met the other lady who initiated me on something called metaphor therapy, where you draw a drawing of a scenery and she analyzes that drawing and she tells you what's happening in your subconscious mind.
Mm.
And that lady, I kept telling her, like, I'm not happy where I am. I'm frustrated at the bank. I'm angry. I'm always feeling tired. I feel like life is stripped away from me. Like, I feel like the only thing that I need to do is wake up, go to work, come back. I go out just to numb myself, just not to feel. And that's when she pushed me. We went into a hypnotherapy session and a mix of coaching with it. He's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? And then I told her, like, I want to help people. And that's when she said, start with Reiki energy, start with life coaching, I'll teach you tarot card reading. And to be honest, I didn't follow her footsteps. I just followed what's in my heart. So I did my research and I just followed an impulse or a nudge that came from my heart saying, this is the thing, go for this and start. And that's how the journey started.
You followed your heart.
Yes.
All right, now we've got a question in, Yassmine, all the way from Facebook. The question says, what can I do to find my purpose if it seems unclear to me?
Well, purpose. So let me tell you something that will give you a bit of that ease. All of our higher purpose is here to serve in the name of love. Love, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, creator, source energy. So we're all here in this essence. Now, each one of us serves a purpose. And I will tell you a story about purpose. But before that, I will just say something that will soothe you. What if your purpose is seeking you, but with you putting a lot of effort to get it so clear, you're getting in the way of your purpose being clear to you?
What if your
And then
purpose is
I'm
seeking?
gonna, sorry.
So what if the question is, what if your purpose is seeking you, and because you're seeking clarity for your purpose, you're getting in the way of your purpose finding you?
Yes.
That's tricky, Yassmine.
You know, we give a lot of importance in words, and I know that as humans, we can't live without a purpose. There is a purpose, otherwise, life will have no meaning, and I get that. However, what if we surrender to the current moment and let our purpose show itself? Like you're having a walk in the garden, and all of a sudden, amongst all the flowers that you see, or all the trees that you see, just one of them really catches your eye. Wouldn't that perhaps be a metaphor for your purpose?
Okay, okay. Interesting.
And if you'd
Interesting, yeah.
allow me, I'll just say a short story about purpose. So
Yes.
I was attending a class, and this story was told to us in the class, and I loved it. So apparently, a person was visiting New York, if I'm not mistaken, and he went into a taxi for a ride. And all of a sudden, he sees that taxi driver wearing a suit and offering water, some snacks in the car. And even though he's driving not the upper scale taxi, like not a limousine or something luxurious, it was just the basic service. This person was providing a service as if he was a proper limousine. And the old guy who was sitting in the passenger seat asked him, so why are you doing what? Why are you offering this service at this high-end and luxurious way? And the driver said, because I enjoy what I do. And I love what I do. I love meeting people. I love talking to them. And I love sharing insights with them. I love to be their companion on their rides, no matter how short or how long they are. And that's why I give them the highest level of service, because I love what I'm doing. He does wholeheartedly. So the passenger took off the cab, like he landed into his destination and left the car. And as he was walking, he was thinking to himself, this guy is really living his purpose.
You know, that reminds me of a story of this man who was by a beach. You know, there's so much sand by the sea lines, and then from time to time, the waves from the beach will bring out shells, living shells. So he got there. He picked. They saw this man by the seashore picking the shells and throwing them back. You know, the waves will bring them out and may not take them back, will leave some behind. And those ones that are left behind are going to die. So he packs them and he throws them back. He just kept packing and throwing them back. Then someone walks up to him and says, why are you doing this? Look, how many are you going to save? There are hundreds of shells or thousands on the shoreline. How many are you going to save? And the man said, even if I saved just one, I would have changed his life forever.
Forever.
Incredible. Incredible. So what you're trying to expound to us, Yassmine, you're trying to teach us that in seeking that purpose is tied to service. We're all here to serve. Whatever it is and wherever you are, just serve. Give your best, do your best. That is your path to discovering your purpose. Is that correct?
Yes. Do it wholeheartedly and explore and be curious.
Explore and be curious. Do it wholeheartedly. Explore and be curious. So, in the course of being curious, you might discover your purpose. But, I've got a question for you, Yassmine. When it comes to curiosity, how can people, what does it really mean to be curious? Let me ask that.
Well, be curious is to ask questions, to have an open mind, to reflect without judgment, to assess and reassess and position and reposition. So curiosity is really, like I get inspired by cats. They have a saying that says, curiosity killed the cat. So be as curious as the cat. Sniff here, there, what's happening. So how would I feel, let's say I explored being artistic? How would I feel if I explored a new handcraft that I never knew that I could be good at? How would I explore a new skill? How would I learn more about my strengths? How can I discover more about myself and what I'm capable of? Because the reality is, I'm not the same person I used to be a year ago. And here I'm not talking about age as a number or how many gray hairs I have or whether I've turned bald or not and all these things, or how thin or chubby I am. No, we're talking about your inner core. There are certain values that don't change within us, but as we move on and grow in life, certain things start changing in us. And as we start making better decisions for ourselves in terms of the environment and who we choose to surround ourselves with, we also start discovering who we are. So curiosity is really the art of discovering what you are or who you are and who you are not anymore, and who you could be, and who you want to be, and who you choose to be, and who you decide to be. Because all these aspects are very different and they play out differently in our lives. So, curiosity is the art of seeing, coming back to the five senses. So, seeing with a different eye, hearing in a different way, smelling in a completely different way, tasting, feeling, thinking in a different way. That's curiosity.
Wow. Wow. The definition of curiosity from you today um, is from Harvard because curiosity is asking yourself, who am I? Who am not? Where am I? Where am I headed? What do I have? What should I have? I mean, all these questions dovetail into curiosity. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the live class with Charles, and we're asking one question in this live class: what do you want? We're exploring the fact that sometimes we don't know what we want. Other times, we think we know what we want only to find out that we don't. And now, Yassmine, in this class, all the way from Dubai, is sharing with us her perspective about how she left the banking industry. And then we have people dialing in. Mulalo says, when I left corporate things, when I left the corporate world, things were working very well. But as you said, it was not what I wanted. So sometimes the sign may not be negative. You may
Yeah.
not, things may be working very well. You may be getting the promotions, you may be getting accolades. In fact, you may even be praised. Yet it is time to move on. One of the most powerful things you said today is really about using the five senses, which was what the life class said. To know what you want, don't let your eyes alone be the decider. Yasmin, I want you to speak to this. Are there times when your eyes deceived you?
Um, a lot of times, not
Tell us
everything
what.
that shines is gold.
Tell us. It's a live class. When did your eyes deceive you, and how did you come out of the deception?
Well, mainly the only example that I'm actually thinking of, obviously, there's deception with humans that happens a lot. But
Okay.
let's not talk about that because I choose to see people in the light of their soul rather than seeing them for what the ego is playing out. And this is something that I carry in my heart, to be honest. But, and you go through lessons and you learn. But for example, for me, I think what really played a big or a major thing that I felt that I had been deceived with my eyes is the place or the bank that I was joining. For me, it was an international place. It's big, so structures inside are going to be amazing, or at least maybe up to the standard that I was expecting it. So, and then when I went in, things were completely different because, and it's the blame is not on the organization itself. The blame is also on the people and the leadership. And also, I honestly take responsibility for accepting a lot of the things that were being said to me because I trusted these people and I trusted their words or their expertise. That's why I accepted what they said to me. But all in all, I say that I was deceived in my eyes in terms of making something bigger than who I am. The reality is, you are bigger than anything, any object or place. And when it comes to other humans, you are as great as everybody else. There's no one better than the other. We're all journeying in different timelines or in different phases. So someone can be 2 steps ahead of you in a certain aspect while you're 2 steps ahead of them in another aspect. So this is how I see it. But in terms of deception, I think it's putting certain people on a pedestal, or even organizations, um, organizations, objects, things, places, and claiming that they're better than who you are
Mm, mm,
because of what you see, right? Because
right,
sight is
right.
very important.
You know, when you say this, as we begin to wind down, it's interesting. Sometimes the grass always looks greener on the other side. You know, I want that. Oh my God, it's so lovely. I want him, I want her, I want that, I want this, right? We constantly wanting things, but the purpose of this life class, ladies and gentlemen, is to really ask ourselves the question a second time. Are you sure you want what you want?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Are you convinced? And how are you sure? Have you put it through your five senses? How are you sure? Just like Yassmine said, are you curious enough? That's a powerful, powerful reflective tool. I'm going to read the live class, but before I do that, even as we'll sign out, I'm going to ask Yassmine, Yassmine, what would you have told us today that you haven't? Because I didn't ask the question. What do you have on your inside that hasn't come out?
Well, I think it's more of, or that's what I feel that needs to be said here right now, which is it's okay if you're not sure. It's okay if you don't know. It's okay if you also know. And it's okay if you decide to change. It's okay if you make a detour. Bottom line, just live in each and every moment and be present enough to know to know and to get that instant feedback that comes through your body sensation, through your feelings, or ideas that could rush in your mind, or sensations in your heart that are actually guiding you and telling you, hey, you're on the right path, or no, you can do better or be better. So I would say, just in this moment, wherever you are, acknowledge yourselves and acknowledge how far you've come, and take these learnings and apply that curiosity, that exploration. Be open and let your heart lead. Really let your heart lead. That's where your true north is. That's where you would never go wrong. We've been masked, we've been conditioned to believe that we need to live life in a logical, more mind centric way. But that drops, or that stops us from being the innocent beings that we are. And wanting something just keeps changing the same way we keep changing and we keep evolving. Just believe in yourselves and believe that any point in time, you have the permission. In fact, you have the power. It's your willpower to utilize, to make different decisions related to your wants and needs and hopes and desires.
Hmm. Just listening to you say, be curious enough, be patient with yourself, and follow through with your journey. This is really incredible. Thank
Yeah.
you, Yassmine. I'm going to come back to give the credits, but in a moment, I will read the live class again just for those who missed it, and then come back and give the credits for those who dialed in from different parts of the world. Live class with Charles. Do you know what you want? Some people admit they do not know what they want. Some think they know when they do not. In fact, people pity those in the first category without knowing that those in the second category are at greater risk of a mistake. Before I got married, I thought I knew the wife I wanted. But while riding with a friend one day, his wife said to me casually, "The kind of wife Charles should marry is my oh my." Her description cured my ignorance. Before you arrive at the depth of what you want, consider the breadth of wise counsel. Most of us have five senses. Better to reach one decision with five senses than to make five decisions based on the judgment of one sense. To know what you want, do not let your eyes be the only decider. Do you know what you want? Life class with Charles. I want to thank all those who dialed in today, asked questions. Israel, Marian. I want to thank those who are on LinkedIn who asked questions. Mulalo, who shared with us. Simon Mukwamba, who also shared with us. They were dialing in from Zambia and Nairobi, Kenya as well. Simon says, incredible. I love the Harvard definition of curiosity, Yasmin. Then Israel also sends in a message and he says, "Thank you, Miss Yasmin, for answering my question. I really appreciate it. It's clearer now." And also those on Twitter, I want to credits to Woke Nanka, to Oyendike Adeyemo, and all those who are dialing in on a silent, contributors. You have made the live class with Charles very, very memorable for Yasmin and I. Yasmin, thank you for dialing in. Thank you for sharing your perspectives. We are so grateful to have you on the live class with Charles. And we hope that you'll be able to come on the show some other time and share your insight with us.
Definitely. Thank you
God
so
bless
much,
you.
Charles. Thank you so much for hosting this and for your invitation. It's been an incredible hour, very meaningful and very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. So, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing you need to take out of this conversation, be curious enough. Because if you're curious enough, you will know what you want, or you will know whether what you have is not what you want. Like I say all the time, be the best, the very best. Bye for now.